Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Factorio, and at the end of the last episode we were working on the train system, sorting out the delivery of iron ore from a nearby outpost to the smelting area. The first thing I do is empty a bunch of wood that I got from clearing out the area for the tracks. Put that all in a chest, and I now have a steel chest full of stacks of wood, so I've cut down a lot of trees in my time. Anyway, we need to go over and finish off the train, so I do an inspection of the unloading bay and see how things are there. And it's not quite all full. And I have a look at the train, see what's being emptied, and there is quite a bit that's just sort of staying around. And it gets refilled quite quickly. So I'm going to make a change to the timetables. And or I was going to, I don't know. I'm just sort of, yeah, there we go, just extending the time that it's set around at home, because it needs to be, with only half of the unloading capacity, it takes longer to actually get it unloaded, of course. And also I'm noticing that the chests aren't filling up at the loading end, which is interesting. Anyway, I start clearing out these millions of conveyor belts that we no longer need. This whole line can just go now all the way back to base. We get back to this bit and we only need the one now, so I can just make a change there, just get rid of some of the ore that's there, and then make my way along, getting rid of it all as I go. Of course, some of the stuff from this particular conveyor belt is draining onto the main one when there's a gap, so that's fine. I can just leave that running for a bit and then clear it out later when that's all done. Have a quick inspection of the smelting system and see how everything is there, and see how things change as I modify the supplies and so on. I noticed that there's no point in this belt being blue anymore. It was made blue a while ago when it needed to be, and it doesn't need to be anymore. The supply is reduced by quite a bit. Well, no, I suppose that the number of smelters there is reduced, so that you don't need a blue belt for it. So yeah, anyway, I'm clearing away these conveyor belts now, and then we finally got rid of that, so it's just the one from the outpost further to the north, and then everything coming off the trains. And you can see that all of these furnaces are running. Actually, I think one of them might not have been at the end there. But what I've decided to do is increase the unloading rate, because at the moment that is our limiting factor, I think, because it's all being used up fairly quickly. So I have it sent underneath the tracks, and so that they sort of join up, and it's an efficient use of the blue belts. Though I realised later on that it sort of doesn't work too well. So anyway, I need to put blue belts onto this bit here, because of course the entire reason we were doing this is because we wanted to have things need to be moving faster than they moved on a normal speed belt. So of course we're gonna have to use faster belts leading into the smelting area if we want it to be faster. So running back, I noticed that the way it's worked out means that on the right side there's barely any unloading being done, so I make a couple of tweaks, and it uses a little bit more in the way of belts, but it's not too much of a problem, and that should help. And well, there's still some that aren't running, but now it's more balanced which ones aren't running. So anyway, I'm going to add in some more smelters there. Just at the moment, the limiting factor is now the actual smelting rate. And going back to base, it looks like things are improving. The iron supply is starting to go again, and it's getting back to circuits and so on. Anyway, I clear away these four here, because at the moment there's not that much of an ore supply to the smelters further up near to the center. So of course we want to put them into the smelting area where they can be of more use. Now that we've got all these fast belts going and everything, they can all just be in the same place, and it won't be a problem, and if anything it'll be an improvement. Now what I want to do is clear out a bit more space, because of course we want to have this matching the copper smelting area on the other side one day, and then it'll look nice and neat and things, and also be useful, I suppose. So getting these belts around here, we just need to move things up so that we'll have enough room to put all of these smelters in when we eventually do. There's another 6 to add, and then we'll have the complete set of 30 or whatever it is on there, which will be nice. So having another check of the unloading, seeing how it's going now, because of course it's a constantly changing thing depending on how much is at one end and how much capacity is at the other, and so on and so forth. So anyway, run over to the modules, and there's a couple of F-activity. Actually, no, there isn't F-activity modules to pick up at this point. Things haven't quite sped up to what they were. You can see I'm doing some rearranging on my hotbar there, putting everything all nice and neat so that I know where everything is. Of course, there's a bunch of burner inserters in there that I'm probably not going to get any use out of, even though I did do that that half-hour-long tutorial video on everything you could do with burner inserters, but I haven't used them that much myself, because I don't use them in mining, which is where they are the most useful. Actually, or is that true? Maybe that's not true. But anyway, just wandering around checking the supplies and everything. Go back to the trains and see how they are now. I'm gonna go back over to the actual mining outpost and see how things are there. Make sure it's being filled up properly. And you can see that it sort of slows down and then ends up not quite filling up 3/4, which means that it's being transported as fast as it's being mined, and that is a bit of a concern. It might be that later on things start running down a bit, and then the speed drops, and we start having a bit of problem with iron again. Anyway, did a quick inspection of oil there. Everything's fine there. Go back to modules and check everything. Just making sure that the iron is getting into the system nicely. You can see it's probably backed up now on the circuit production, which I don't think it's been for a while actually, so that's pretty good. Especially seeing as the science is going at full pelt, so a lot of it's being siphoned off before it gets to the circuit production. But anyway, I do a quick bit of scouting on the map because I've decided I'm going to go out and build some more radar stations. And by build some more radar stations, I mean destroy some more biter bases, because the one always follows the other. And you can see we've nearly finished with our coal thing now. There's only one mining drill left, and then one burner inserter loading it into chests. So we've hopped into the car and we do a quick pass on the iron outpost over there just to see that everything's absolutely fine. And then we must start making our way over. We get a bit of research done there. Park up and try and find the right location. Just positioning ourselves using the map, and then we can get the radar down, and that will help us to scan further afield, though we really don't need to go further afield very much. I mean, we've got plenty of iron and copper as it is at home, and as things have turned out on this map, we have oh, by the way, the killing a biter base there, that's probably the biggest one yet. What I was going to say is that we've been really lucky in terms of oil, and there's tons right around the base. Anyway, dealing with that base there, I nearly got my shield destroyed. I don't know if you saw, but the shield was almost gone. The battery was completely out. And I think my destroyer drones got killed as well, so that really was a hairy one. I'm pushing myself a lot more in terms of doing all the biter killing. And also, with every base I destroy, the biters get more and more furious with me. You see there's a weird base of worms there, which is interesting. But nowadays I can kill those with ease. So making our way back home, it is a worry how powerful the biters are getting, because of course pollution makes them get more and more powerful. But then, even though I've not had much pollution, in fact barely any at all really, there's definitely none that bases that far out have been eating. But it's just the fact that I've killed so many biter bases at this point that they are becoming extremely powerful. But of course. So am I, so it's alright for now. Anyway, a bit of a problem with battery production. This has sort of been a long-lasting thing where the batteries are being produced not quite fast enough really to keep the supply up. And until now it's not been a problem, but it looks like it's starting to run down quicker now that we've got our science running at full pelt. So I've set up another chemical plant there, and then I hooked up the conveyor belts to it, so now that's running, and we've just doubled our battery production, so everything should be fine there now. And I think the sulfuric acid supply is enough to keep both of those running well and so on. Anyway, I've got some of the level 2 effectivity modules, so I stick those in a bunch of the furnaces, and then go around put them in some chemical plants as well. Also decided to disconnect the processing unit production for a while so that I can get some delivered to me by my logistics robots. And also I go into the logistics menu and start tweaking all the figures. Previously you could only use a certain set figure, so it was like every 10 up to 100 and then every 100, and it was sort of awkward because it was always full stacks. So what I just did there was I changed it so that it's 5 less than the certain number of full stacks for each one, which means that I won't be oversupplied anymore, even though the most recent update should have fixed that, but I'm not sure if it quite has yet. I still am finding a couple of cases where I have like 2 full stacks plus 1 of shotgun ammo and things like that. Anyway, I've gone back over to the iron outpost because I want to make sure the supply is good there, and it looks like it's pretty much as before, so maybe things are stable and it's all going to be fine there. Decided to check up on the copper system as well, because I haven't done that this episode. So run down to the base we've got down here. Everything's running absolutely fine. It's still pretty new, so there's no mining drills run out there, but we may need to add a couple more soon. Anyway, hop out and let it get unloaded and move on, and then wait for the other one to arrive. Hop in there and have a look at how it's being emptied there. And of course, all the chests at the other end are being filled before the wagon is emptied entirely, which is excellent. Anyway, running around and just getting rid of a couple of the mining drills that have run out. And thinking about it, I probably need to add I definitely need to add more, I think at this point, mining drills to the other outpost, because I've taken 4 out there as it is. So I imagine things are starting to run down and I need to fix that. Anyway, I've been fully supplied with the productivity not productivity modules, the processing units, so I put back in the inserter and sort of open the floodgates with that, let that go on. Have a check up on the various components of the oil system. Everything's going good there. And I grab a couple more effectivity modules just to stick in some more chemical plants that are around. There's just a few bits here and there that haven't been finished yet, and so I can just sort them out, increase the efficiency and everything. So looking at modules and circuits specifically, I find that we now have production of both kinds of circuits at full a full pelt and backing up nicely, so that's all excellent. And the only things that are being produced now using those really is the level 2 effectivity modules. Hopping over to the science labs, everything's fine, and now going over here you can see that the coal mining is complete after so many episodes, well over a dozen I think at this point. We have finally done it, and what I decided to do is just sort of compress things a bit, and I start emptying out those ones so they can be put into the other ones there, because I sort of misjudged the requirement for chests in the end. We have so much of that now. I did a bit of calculation. I think we've got over 20,000 coal objects. So if I ever decide to detonate, that's what I was trying to say, detonate that item nuke, it will probably break the game. Actually, I think there's a specific limit actually. I remember seeing the developers mentioning the exact limit of the number of items that you could have. I think he said it specifically, or he might have just said you can't have 1 million. But there's a certain number of items that you can have at once on the ground, I think, in Factorio, that can all be sort of processed at once. It might be like I was going to say that like the 25,500 number that's used in things, but that'd be too low, so I expected something higher than that. Anyway, I'm getting myself building some more radars, a lot of them this time. I'm building 5 of them, and then the necessary solar panels. And this time I get resupplied very quickly by the logistics system. I've now fully upgraded all of the programs. You see I nearly hit the train there, whoops. But I've fully upgraded all aspects of the logistics system now, so the robots are going as fast as they can, they store as much as they can, and I have as many logistics slots as I can. So that's as good as it's going to get there, which is nice. But anyway, there's more killing to do. Big old biter base here to go flying through, and it run out of battery, but the shield stays pretty much intact. But then immediately we get attacked by this base down here as well. After sort of mid-battle deploy some extra destroyer drones to help me with that, and they nearly take me out. My shield gets really low with that one. And I'm starting to get worried really, because I keep going into these battles and getting worn down a lot. And I'm wondering about changing sort of the balance of modules in my armor to try and combat that. Maybe adding in more shields or more batteries actually. More batteries are probably a better idea, because they run out quite quickly, which means I can't run fast anymore. Anyway, after deploying some more drones, we now have this huge base to deal with. This may be the biggest yet, or at least sort of joint biggest. And there's another one to the side that's attacking as well. So it gets really hairy, and I have to sort of concentrate a lot on killing the biters rather than the bases. But eventually I make it through, and then destroy the other as well. We get some more research done. I'm now upgrading the combat robot damage, and I can currently deploy 3 sets of destroyer drones. I think the complete sets or something like that. I didn't catch that in the video, but whatever. So, make my way back home though. I've been running around killing biters for so long that I nearly lose the car, and I managed to locate it again using the map. Thanks to the recently added markers that they have for them. So I managed to hit the wall, but I get that fixed. Decided to take a different route home and realise that there is just deep forest in every direction, apart from the one that I usually take to get out. Nearly destroy the car twice, managed to get it home, let the robots deal with that, and I can make my way back to the middle. So I shall say goodbye, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.